Forever 2020 was the first time that we had actually built a mobile ascending mechanism. So we're really excited. Now, the client initially wanted something different, but we were able to work together with the client and the venue to be able to produce an ascending cake. Now, the thing about it was the previous event that we did at the same venue was for a descending cake. That was about a month prior. So we realized that the ceilings were really low, so we could not repeat a descending cake, which was initially what the client wanted. So we knew that if we're going to use the same venue for their event, we had to push ourselves to complete our ascending mechanism, which we did Forever 2020. Now, aside from the fact that the cake ascended, we did a lot of detailing because the main colors were white and gold. So we did a lot of stencil detailing with gold elements, and then we also used champagne gold Swarovski crystals and edible pearls and a lot of sugar flowers, sugar blossoms, to create a very timeless cake. Now, we decided to go for a 6-tier cake because of, obviously, the client actually wasn't even particular about the number of tiers of cake that we produced. They just wanted a cake that made them say wow. So that's what we accomplished with Evra. So my team and I spent, I'd say we started the detailing of the cake on Wednesday. So we spent about 2-3 days on the beading because there was a lot of micro beading and a lot of detailing. And then also because we had to rehearse the ascending mechanism. Now, ascending cakes are such that they are quite temperamental because the cake structure is completely different from any other type of cake. For instance, a descending cake, or for instance, a cake that is sat on a table. So we had to rehearse also because of weight. Because literally you have a motor that is lifting up the cake. Motors have weight restrictions, so you can't just add, and then just put it on the motor and expect it to lift. So we had to predetermine everything. So the first time we practiced the ascending mechanism, we noticed that the cake was too heavy. So we had to go back and shorten all the tiers. We also noticed that the lift could only lift about 32 inches high, and our cake was almost 35 inches. So we had to take one of the tiers off because we were initially trying to do a 7-tier cake. So all these elements, at the end of the day, we produce a beautiful cake for you to enjoy and say, like, oh, wow. But the behind the scenes drama, you cannot imagine. So we were able to finish, and then we got to the venue and we had to customize the housing for the cake. Now, with that, we worked with Design by JR. He made the monogram for the couple to put on the front of the box. But then because it was a very wide stage, we had to create balance aesthetically. So we had to have 2 boxes, even though the cake was just going to be in one of those boxes. We had to have what was done on one side mirrored on the other so that it creates more balance. And so we had that done. We sent the boxes to the venue the day before. JR and his team did their thing with the boxes. But then when we got to the venue, we realized that we needed to have an opening so that we could work on the cake while it was in the box. And so we had to do those alterations on the day of, in the morning. That was about 10 o'clock when we got to the venue because I was all the way in Tema and our studio is in Hacho. So we wanted to get there in time because the traffic on the motorway is really unpredictable. So we got to the venue so early, so we had to keep the cake in the car for about 4 hours with the air conditioners running. Yeah, the cake was in the car for about 4 hours while we were working to fix the issues we had with the housing. And so once we had done that, we assembled the cake and we tried it out, and it worked like magic. In transporting the cake, obviously, because sugar flowers are delicate and they are made out of sugar, quite a few of them fall off, some of the edible pearls fall off and all that. So once we get to the venue, we put, a couple of the ones that fell off back, make sure any, missing beads are put back, and then we do the final detailing of the cake, and then we test out our mechanism, and then we wait for the bride and groom to come. I mean, the thing about it is, anytime we do something that is groundbreaking, like, we're on pins and needles literally, because anything can go wrong. So we're just fingers crossed, saying a prayer and hoping and praying that nothing goes awry. And by God's grace, everything went according to plan, and our couple was so happy. And at the end of the day, to be honest with you, that's the greatest reward for me, when I see the smiles and the joy on the faces of the couple. Because I mean, they could have gone with any cake maker, and I've put my time and effort into it, and to see them so happy and to be a part of such a special day in somebody's life is just such an amazing thing for me. And so I don't take it for granted. And so for me, seeing the smiles, I remember when the couple came to the event, and then they were sitting in the car, and I passed by the car, and the groom was like, "Jifa, where's my cake? I can't see my cake." And I said, "Don't worry, it's there, you'll see it." Because they came to the venue to take pre shots before the guests came in. They were like literally looking for the cake, because I didn't tell them whether the cake was going to ascend or descend. So they were looking up, they didn't see the cake. They were looking down, and because the pillars were mirrored, it didn't really hit them that their cake could actually be in one of those. And so literally, when they said it was time to cut the cake, they were looking at the MC like everybody else, like, where is this cake? And then the cake starts to ascend. So you can see in the video that the bride is just smiling as the cake is coming up. And that moment for me is priceless. And she's just smiling throughout. And that is like the biggest thing for me. 2020. I mean, it's such a heartwarming cake for me.